What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and in today's video I'm going to be covering a popular topic when it comes to working in Revit, and that is how to achieve a paneling facade. So a facade that uses some sort of panels. Usually there's a little gap between the panels, and then you might have panels out of some sort of a metal, some sort of a composite material, or it can be stone, and so on. So there are many different approaches to these facades, but the main thing is, well, you have panels for your facade. Now, Revit has different ways that you can tackle this topic and then that you can approach it, and I'm just going to be covering the top 3 ways that you can achieve this. The first one is going to be probably the simplest one to get you started, but it's going to give you the least versatility and the least options in the future. And then the last one is going to give you the most versatility and most options in the future, but it is going to take a little bit longer to set up. So that's what this video is going to be all about. Now, before I get started, I would just like to ask you to like this video. It helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and also make sure to subscribe. I make useful Revit tutorials each week, and also I have courses, both beginner, intermediate, as well as advanced level courses. Now, all of these courses can be found on my website, balkanarchitect.com. The link will be just below the video in the description. And there I take the extra time of explaining all of the vast number of topics inside of Revit. There's over 100 hours of content, so make sure to check it out. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get straight into Revit. And here we are in Revit. Now let's immediately get started by going here to Models and then going straight to New. As for the template file, I'm just going to be using my own custom Balkan Architect template. If you're interested in my templates, you can find them on my website, balkanarchitect.com. It's going to be the 3rd link in the description, so check it out. Now I'm just going to click OK to get Revit started. And as soon as Revit opens up, let's explore the first approach to creating facades or metal panel facades in Revit, or generally any other type of panel facades. So the first and easiest way to do this is the manual way. It is going to give you a lot of versatility, but it is also going to be the longest one to create the actual facade. It's easy to set up, but it takes a long time to complete, especially when you have a large complex facade. And this is going to be an approach where we just use a simple wall type, or just a regular wall, and then we also use reveals to mark out those little intersections and basically the gaps between the panels. So I'm simply going to go here to the wall tool, and let's use the generic wall 400 mm. That's quite all right. And then let's place one wall segment here. I'm just going to hit the escape key a couple of times, and let's perhaps turn off the thin lines for now. Next, let's go to the Quick Access toolbar and open up the default 3D view. This is what we have. This is that wall. And now we have to add a layer for our panels. So I'm just going to select the wall, go into Edit Type here in the Properties panel, and let's now edit the structure. Now, if I go here into Structure and click on Edit, you're going to notice that we only have one layer with a thickness of 0.4 meters. Now that's quite all right. That's works perfectly fine. And let's say that this is our structural layer, but now we're going to be adding our panels on top of that. Now, usually between the panels and your wall, there is going to be a small gap. Now, this really depends on type of panel and the type of construction that holds that panel in place. So what I'm going to do is just click on this little core boundary, insert a layer above that, and I'm just going to make sure that this is a thermal or air layer. Now that's the function. For the material, because this is going to be a gap layer, it's going to be simply air. Now you just click here in the material field, go here to the little builder button to open up the material editor, and as soon as that opens up, find the air material and just click OK. Now, once we have loaded that air material, the thickness of that can be, I'm just going to go with 0.03, so that's like 3 centimeters or 0.03 meters. So I think that's more than enough for this layer. And then finally we need our facade, so let's insert that layer. For the function, that's going to be the finish layer. For the material, let's use a stone facade for this one, so let's search for stone. let's see what Revit offers us. Okay, so I have this stone material here. If I go to appearance, I really like the way it looks, so I'm going to be using that one. And then let's just click OK. Now let's say that these panels are 2 centimeters thick, so in meters that would be 0.02. Okay, there we go. So we have our panel, we have that little air gap between the panel and the structural and thermal parts of the layer and or the wall, and then we have the structural part of the wall. When I click OK, wait for a second, let's click OK again, there we go, and as you can see, we have that facade applied. If I go into level 1 and zoom in a little bit, and perhaps let's turn on the thin lines for this one, you can see that we have that stone material here, and then we have that little air gap in between. To see it even better, you can always go and turn this to realistic, so it's going to look like that. There we go. Okay, let's go back to hidden line. And then finally, let's now apply the facade that we want to have. So for this facade, we're just going to be using reveals to take away material to emphasize the panels. So you simply go here to the wall tool, expand the little drop menu, and use the reveal. Now once you go to the reveal, you can make either a horizontal reveal or a vertical reveal, and this is what we're going to be using. Now you're going to notice that this reveal here is way too large. Now if I just select that reveal and go here into edit type, that's just the default profile. Now here you will notice that we do have some additional profiles, but what I like to do personally is just create a custom profile for this reveal. So what I'm simply going to do is just go here to the file menu, go to new, go to family. I'm just going to go one step backward here to go to the English metric, because that's what I prefer to use, and then you simply want to find a metric reveal profile. So metric profile reveal, click open, and it's going to look like this. So it's basically going to say, here is the wall, this is the wall face, and then this is the kind of the outside of the facade. So you want to cut into this. So you're simply going to zoom in, go to the create tab, go to the line tool. Now, as you probably know, the depth of the panels is 2 centimeters. So let's go here and create a little rectangle, just like that. So this is 1 centimeter or 10 millimeters thick. That's perfectly fine. Let's just make sure that it's centered. So this could be 5. Oops, that's not 5. Let's try that again. There we go, 5. And then that should be 10 in total. And the depth should be 20 to clear those 20 millimeters or 2 centimeters or 0.02 meters. Okay, once we have created the reveal, we can simply save it on our desktop. So let's call this one the panel reveal. Hit enter, there we go. Load that into the project and close. And now we can go just to the 3D view, select your reveal, and then simply go here into edit type, go to the profile and choose your reveal profile, panel reveal, click apply, okay, and there we go, we have that small reveal. And then simply what you can do is just select that. So if you have a hard time selecting it, use the tab key, and then you can simply go here to copy it multiple times along the face of this facade. As you can see, we're creating some panels there. Perfect. There we go. And then also you can go back to wall, reveal, use a horizontal reveal, and then you can place multiple ones. Or you can just select this one, go to copy, multiple, and then just copy it multiple times on this wall. Now this does give you a versatility to select any one of these, and then you can go up to here or something like that, so you can make different patterns when it comes to these reveals. But the downside is, as you can see, you have to kind of manually create all of these. And then when you go into level 1, as you can see, it's going to display that gap that we have in between these panels, which is exactly what you want to see. So it is probably the quickest one to set up, but in the long run, if you have a lot of facades that look like this, you are going to spend a lot of time just copying those reveals and playing around with that. Now let's take a look at the second approach, and this is going to be the parts approach. Now I called it the parts approach because I'm going to be utilizing the parts tool in Revit. So when you select any complex element such as this wall, we have the parts tool. So here on the create panel, we have the create parts tool. Now, if you just click on that, it's going to divide this whole wall into individual parts. Now, as you can see, the parts are layers. So we have these 3 layers. Now I'm just going to be selecting the top layer, the finish layer, and then I have this divide parts tool. So I'm just going to click on that. And the first thing that we have to do is go straight into edit sketch. So you just go edit sketch, and now you can play around and create the divisions in this in these panels. Now one thing to note is that before you get started, it's really important to set up the work plane correctly. So just make sure to go here to the work plane, go to set, make sure to use the pick a plane option, click OK, zoom in a little bit, and then pick the front face of this facade, just like that. And then you're going to get this little kind of a dashed line going all the way around, and that's exactly what you want to see. So once we have created that, I can simply go here to the draw panel and I can use simple lines. Now you want to go past the edge of the layer. Feel free to go all the way up and then just start creating a sketch just like that. Now you can also navigate to the south elevation like this, and then you can sketch out your facade divisions. So it's really easy, really straightforward. You can make the horizontal ones, you can make the vertical ones, and so on. So once we have created the divisions that we require, just like this, yeah, I think this is enough. You can also have them at an angle, which is something that you cannot do using those sweeps and reveals. So you can have them at an angle, you can have them be arcs or something like that. So it's a little bit more user-friendly. And then when you hit finish, let's go back to the 3D view perhaps. There we go. It's going to display it like this. As you can see now, there is a division there. And then before you finish out of this edit mode, make sure to go here to the gap option and just add a gap. Now I can just type in here 0.01. I think that's going to give me a 1 centimeter gap. And here we should be able to see that. Perhaps if I turn on the 10 lines, there we go. So now we have a 1 centimeter gap here. And then I can just simply hit finish. And there we go. Now this is divided into individual panels. Now here you can actually select individual panels, and you can even change their material here in the properties panel, which is really cool. Just by unchecking the material by origin, you can assign a different material. So this can be a really good approach if you want to create a facade that isn't same everywhere. You want to have different materials and different panels. Well, you can do that this way. And finally, let us explore the curtain panel approach. So for this, we have to go to the architecture tab, go to the wall command, and then let's pick out a curtain panel. So I'm just going to go with the storefront one, and then let's place a wall segment here. Hit the escape key a couple of times, and let's just flip it towards the other side, and then we can open up a 3D view. And here I can switch this to realistic just to see what we have. Okay, so this approach is going to give you the best, well, this is the best approach if you want to have the ability to customize the distances between or the dimensions of the panel, and then to automatically update the whole model. This is probably the best approach in that regard. Now, what you want to do is select your curtain wall, go into edit type, and then let's make this a little bit smaller. There we go. Let's now duplicate this one, and let's call it the panel wall. There we go. Okay, so the function is still going to be exterior. We're still going to leave automatically embedded the curtain panel. Now here it says glazed, which means, well, basically glass. And you can actually open up the drop menu here, and it has a solid option, so you can set that up. Next, we have the vertical and horizontal spacing, which you can customize if you want. So you can customize this according to your panel size. Now, I don't really know what you're looking for, so I'm just going to make it a square 1500 by 1500 millimeter panel. So yeah, we're now in millimeters, just if you have been watching this video from the start. Anyways, let's go below, and here we have the vertical mullions and the horizontal mullions. Now what I'm going to do for all of these is change it to the 30 millimeter square. Now what you can do to easily apply it to all of these is just select the type, go Control C to copy, and then just Control V. So you select, Control V, click, there we go. So it's probably the fastest way. Oops, okay, I messed it up. Let's try that again. So it's probably the fastest way to apply these is just to highlight, Control V, and then you make sure to select all of these. There we go. Click OK. And now we have a panel facade. So if you zoom in here, as you can see, we have the panels and they're kind of a little bit thicker than the actual mullions. So that's why it looks like this. If you go into level 1, you can see what that actually looks like. Perhaps let's turn on the thin lines. There we go. So these are the little mullions, and then these are the actual panels. Now for these panels, as well as the mullions, you can customize them simply by going to let's just take a look at from the other direction. There we go. So you can simply go here into the project browser, scroll all the way down and find families. And if I just expand the families node, here we have curtain panels, so we can expand that, find the system panel, expand that, and here we have the solid. So if you just double click, you can set up the material, you can set up the thickness, you can give it an offset. So there are many different things that you can set up here. So for example, this offset is what makes it go out a little bit. So if I drop this to 0 and then hit apply, click OK, now in level 1, as you can see, that's going to be kind of in the middle of that little vertical mullion. So you can play around with that offset if you want. Also, as I said, material, thickness, yeah, and additional parameters are there as well. Let's then cancel out of that. In addition, you have the curtain wall mullions, which allows you to customize the mullions themselves. So you can just go here to the curtain wall mullions, expand that, find the rectangular mullion, expand that, and here's the one that we used. Now it's a little bit odd when it comes to setting this up, but it's fairly easy when you get the hang of it. So the thickness is kind of the width, so just one side, and then the other side, it has like left and right. So it's divided like this. So this is kind of the this is the dimension kind of back and forth, and this is the thickness in between panels, if that makes sense for the kind of the rectangular profile. So if you want to make this like 1 centimeter, that would mean that this is 10 millimeters, and then it would mean that these are 5 millimeters each, making it 10 in total. So if I hit apply, click OK, now in level 1, as you can see, this is now significantly smaller. So this approach would give you the option to create panels like this, and also what this allows you to do is if you want to place in a, let's say you want to have a window here, you can easily go to the Insert tab, go to Load Family, let's go into US Metric, search for windows. Find the ones that are curtain panel or curtain wall based. So they should be here somewhere. Here we go, M curtain wall awning. Hit open. And now if I just come in here and use the tab key a couple of times to select one of these panels, you can unpin them, go to the properties, and here you can insert that window. So it's a really cool approach where you can kind of place windows wherever you want. You can combine some of these panels to create a door or something like that. So for example, here we could go to architecture, curtain grid. Let's see, how can we remove one segment? So here, okay, we can now select this. So you come in here, you select the curtain wall grid, so that's that dashed line. You can use the tab key a couple of times to select it. So there we go, that one dashed line. You can go to add remove segments, and then you just kind of remove that one segment, and that would make this whole panel one panel. And then you can again go to Insert, Load Family, go back one folder, go to Doors, go to curtain wall doors single, there we go, open, and now you can simply select this, unpin that panel, and turn that into a door, which is quite cool. And if you go to the fine level of detail, it would actually add a door handle. Now this door is probably ludicrously tall, it's like 3 meters tall and 1.5 meters wide. That's why the door handle is so small. But you get the point. It's really versatile. It's really cool. It takes perhaps a little bit longer to set up, but I think the trade-off is definitely worth it. Now, obviously, you can do many more things. You can get rid of the mullions all completely, and then create a customized panel that would work with a little gap on each side. So there's many different approaches, but in the end, I think this is probably the best approach when it comes to creating these panel facades, because it does give you the most versatility and the most and the biggest ability for changing the pattern later on in the project. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this quick, well, hopefully it was quick, tutorial on how to create panels in Revit. I hope you have enjoyed this, and if you want to learn more, there's much more knowledge when it comes to Revit on my website, balkanarchitect.com. There's over 100 hours of content on Revit, different topics, beginner, intermediate, as well as advanced level courses, so make sure to check it out. That's going to be the first link in the description, and if you want my project files, like all of these panel walls that we have created, as well as the rest of my Revit projects, I've got like over 500 files so far, they're all available on my Patreon page. That's going to be the second link in the description. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video, and I'll be back in a couple of days with another Balkan Architect tutorial. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.